What if I told you that something happening far away in the Middle East right now could quietly make your daily life more expensive in the coming weeks? Not in an obvious way, not overnight, but slowly, through fuel prices, transport costs, and inflation. That's exactly why what's happening between the United States and Iran right now deserves your attention. Over the past few days, tensions have started rising again, and the focus is a place most people don't think about often: the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow stretch of water is one of the most important routes in the world because a huge portion of global oil supply passes through it every single day. So when something goes wrong here, it doesn't stay local. It affects markets, economies, and eventually, people everywhere.
Now, here's what triggered the latest wave of tension. The United States recently intercepted and seized a cargo vessel that is reportedly linked to Iran. From the U.S. side, this was framed as a security or enforcement move. But Iran has strongly pushed back, calling it a violation and even describing it as an act of piracy. And when both sides start using language like that, it's no longer just an incident, it becomes a signal that things are starting to escalate. This becomes even more sensitive because there was already a fragile understanding in place. Not a formal peace, not a long-term solution, but at least an effort to keep tensions under control and avoid direct confrontation. That's now under pressure. Iran has shown reluctance to engage in further talks immediately, and that's a problem. Because when communication slows down in situations like this, the chances of misunderstanding go up. And misunderstandings in geopolitics can be dangerous.
Conflicts like these don't suddenly explode out of nowhere. They build gradually. First there's tension, then a move, then a reaction, and then another move in response. Right now, we are clearly in that cycle. The U.S. takes an action, Iran responds strongly, and the situation becomes more unpredictable. The real risk here is not just aggression, it's miscalculation. One wrong move, one wrong interpretation, and things can escalate much faster than expected.
Now let's step back and look at why this matters globally. Oil is still one of the most critical resources in the world. Even today, economies depend heavily on stable oil supply. And the Strait of Hormuz plays a massive role in that system. If tensions rise in this region even slightly, markets react immediately. Oil prices start moving, shipping becomes riskier, insurance costs for oil tankers increase, and all of that creates pressure across the global economy. This is where it starts affecting everyday life. When oil prices rise, it doesn't just mean you pay more at the fuel station. It means transportation becomes more expensive, which increases the cost of goods. Food prices can go up because logistics becomes costlier. Airlines adjust fares, businesses adjust pricing, and slowly, inflation creeps in. So even if you're not directly following international politics, these events have a way of reaching you.
Thoughtful. For a country like India, this becomes even more important. India imports a large portion of its oil, which means it is directly exposed to global price fluctuations. So if tensions in the Middle East push oil prices higher, India feels that impact almost immediately. At the same time, India maintains relationships with multiple countries in this region, including Iran, while also being closely aligned with the United States in many areas. So it's not just an economic issue, it's also a diplomatic balancing act.
Now the big question is, what happens next? There are a few possible directions this could go. One scenario is that both sides take a step back. Diplomacy resumes, talks restart, and tensions cool down. That would stabilize the situation and calm the markets. Another possibility is that more incidents happen, more seizures, more aggressive moves, stronger responses. That would increase pressure and push the situation closer to a serious conflict. And then there's the third scenario, which is often the most unpredictable, where nothing major happens immediately, but tensions keep building quietly in the background until something triggers a sudden escalation. What makes this situation tricky is that both sides are aware of the risks, but neither side wants to appear weak. That's usually how these situations become complicated. It's not always about wanting a conflict, it's about positioning, signaling, and maintaining control.
And in that process, things can get out of hand. So while this may seem like just another international headline, it's actually much bigger than that. It's about global stability, economic impact, and the balance of power in one of the most sensitive regions in the world. And right now, that balance is being tested again.
The key thing to watch in the coming days is whether communication resumes. If talks restart, that's a positive sign. If actions continue without dialogue, that's when concern grows. Because history has shown that when tensions in this region rise without control, the consequences are rarely limited to just one part of the world. So this isn't just a story about the US and Iran. It's a story about how interconnected the world really is. One move in a narrow waterway thousands of kilometers away can quietly shape economies, prices, and lives across the globe. And that's exactly why this matters right now.